So Jon Anik is pretty much threatening to leave the UFC commentary team over toxic fans. I've been wanting to talk about this subject for a very long time, given the fact that I cover MMA and UFC stuff on this channel. And yes, most definitely there are toxic fans in this community, but there are toxic fans in every community. There's toxic fans in the NBA, the NFL, the MLB, even hockey. There's even toxic fans in like esports, for those of you guys that know what they are. There is toxic fans everywhere, ladies and gentlemen. I want to ask you guys a very important question. I just listed multiple organizations in the sports world, right? Basketball, baseball, video games, etc. Do you guys believe that the MMA space in the UFC, do they have the most toxic fans in all sports? Let me know your thoughts down in the comment section below. But this is what happened. These toxic fans went over to Jon Anik's channel, right? And they pretty much attacked them because Jon Anik said that he thought that Dricus du Plessis beat Sean Strickland at their main event fight at UFC 297. Now, in my opinion, that's not really a controversial take at all. But given the fact that there are a lot of toxic fans out there, I'm not surprised by this at all. Jon Anik then went out to say that he's growing tired of the MMA space. He even threatened to go cover pro football, which in my opinion, I really don't know if the ESPN would even want that. Like, is there a demand for having Jon Anik to cover pro football like at all? I feel like those positions are pretty much covered because there's a lot of pro football players that went out to be commentators that, you know, they probably have a better insight on the sport. I don't know if anybody out there pays attention to Jon Anik's channel, but this dude recently made a setup in his room to start covering UFC content on his channel. And then a couple weeks later, this guy is threatening to leave the UFC commentary team and to start covering football because he cannot handle the heat of being criticized. And in my opinion, that's so fucking weak. There's some people that handle criticism pretty well, and there's other people that just don't. There is another person in the commentary team that does a lot of content as well, and he goes by the name of Joe Rogan. He just so happens to be the owner of one of the biggest podcasts in the world, by the way. And this guy has been criticized by almost each and every single medium you could think of, whether it's conspiracy theorists, people that do combat sports, people that are in the medical field, right? Comedians. And Joe Rogan, he takes criticism pretty well. And then there's people like Jon Anik, who just started a YouTube channel and a week later is threatening to leave the entire UFC commentary team. There's just people out there who they just can't take the heat. But I will give Jon Anik his kudos because he's pretty much just saying that, yes, the UFC does have toxic fans. And it's not just the Sean Strickland fans. It's every other fighter that you could think of. There's diehard Islam Makhachev fans. There's diehard Dustin Poirier, Conor fans that as soon as you go against their favorite fighters, they're typing away and telling you how they really feel about you. They'll attack the way you look, the way you talk, the way you dress, right? Everything about you, they'll attack it just because you're going against their favorite fighter. And that's just the truth. I would say that most toxic fans come from just being a casual fan altogether. And I feel like the UFC have a lot to do with that because the UFC, they push storylines, right? Most of the time, whenever you guys hear about people being fans of the UFC, it's them not being, you know, purist of the sport, right? People don't watch the UFC because they just love combat sports. Most people watch the UFC because they love the storyline, and that's how you get casuals. When I started making content for YouTube, it came from a place of love. I did Muay Thai for a while, so I enjoyed learning the ins and outs of the sport, why people have more success than others in striking. And I try to cover some of that into the channel, right? I would say, oh, this fighter has a very defensive base, right? Or this fighter is a good defensive and offensive counterpuncher. But people wanted to hear about the storyline more than like the actual sport itself. And in my opinion, that's how a lot of these people who are fans of the sport, they're really just fans of the fighter. And specifically for Sean Strickland, which is the group that's attacking, the toxic group that's attacking Jon Anik, I feel like Sean Strickland's story is so relatable, and a lot of people see themselves in Sean Strickland, that they almost treat being a Sean Strickland fan as their identity itself, which is not just crazy, it's stupid fucking crazy. It's stupid fucking crazy because The moment, and I've seen a lot of creators, come out and say that, yeah, Dragon Duplessis in the rightful spot. But some of the comments, bro, are just like so damn wild that I'm just like, holy shit. It kind of feels like some of these fans are attacking these creators because they feel attacked personally because you insulted a fighter that they can see themselves in. Because they treat it like it's their identity. It's so freaking wild. It's a crazy phenomenon. I don't really think that anybody out there is really covering it to this extent. But like I said, there's people out there that are more fans of the fighter than they are fans of the sport of MMA. 100%, there is no doubt about it in my mind. But there's toxic fans, like I said, in each and every single sport out there. The same thing can be said about, football and soccer. I see this stuff in football and soccer all the time, where you literally see physical altercations go down because you might be a supporter of a different team. I've seen this with Barcelona and Real Madrid fans. I've seen this with Dallas fans and Texans fans, where they will literally freaking fight each other just because you support a different team. Oh, bro, don't even get me started with college football. There is, man, I don't think I need to go further, but you guys get the point. We're finally seeing that in combat sports, right? And it's just freaking hilarious. I could sit down and eat popcorn and talk about this shit all day because it's just the truth. It's the truth. And like I said, like these diehard fans, they don't know the sport to a high degree. They just know that they love the person or they love the team that they support. That's all they know. That's as far as it goes with them. That's as far as it goes with them. How many times have you guys seen, and I know you guys have seen this, you guys have seen the person that supports their local basketball team or their local football team, and that's literally their identity. Their identity is just being a fan, right? That's the same thing. Literally the exact same thing, but we're seeing it in the UFC world, which is it's just crazy. But I stand by that. And I feel like most people would definitely agree with that as well. That most of these people that come from these toxic fan groups are just people that don't know the sport to a high degree. And all they know is that they just love supporting the fighter they support. And that's as far as it goes with them. And the moment that you go against the fighter that they love, they go against you because it feels like you're attacking them and their identity. And I feel like that's just definitely the truth. If I could give some advice to Jon Anik, man, is don't leave. Don't quit YouTube. Don't. You work a dream job. You work a dream job being a UFC commentator, and there's definitely people out there that would appreciate if they could do what you do. 100%. I don't think that, getting barraged with hate comments from a particular fan base is a good enough reason for you to pack up your things and go. It's a very weak one if it is, right? If you think that, okay, I'm going to leave YouTube and start making content because this particular fan group just keeps attacking me, that is weak. Everybody who is doing MMA content, everybody who's done MMA content, we've all been barraged by these fan groups. And I see this all the time by big creators and small creators, right? Like MMA Guru, Jesse on Fire, and all these other MMA pages that cover, the space. We've all been bombarded by hate comments, including myself, right? That doesn't give me, in my opinion, it's not a good enough reason for me, right, to leave YouTube or to threaten to leave YouTube just because of these toxic people. In my opinion, it's like if the low IQ come in and insult you, right, and you really, really take to heart what they have to say. I don't take to heart what they have to say, and you shouldn't either. You shouldn't either, Jon Anik. Well, unfortunately, guys, you could be one of the best play-by-play callers, commentators the UFC or the MMA has ever had to offer, and you could still be a victim to the internet. Because the way that social media works is that it gives a voice to the lowest common denominator, and that's something that's always going to be the case as long as we use social media. But the likelihood of things ever changing are slim to none, ladies and gentlemen. The UFC, they make their money from these uneducated and casual fans. That's the way it works. That's the way it's always been. And that's the way that things are probably going to continue to be. But until we see a shift in culture, right, when people start valuing the martial art instead of the martial artist, things will definitely stay the same. And that's just my take on this entire matter. If you guys enjoyed what I had to say in this video, make sure you guys leave a like, subscribe, let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. And as always, I will see you guys in the next video. Jon Anik, don't quit. Later. Peace out.